All right, what's good, everybody? I was kind of giving it a couple seconds, let everybody else join on. It's going to give it a couple more seconds as well. I really want to make sure that everybody's on at the same time, so that way we can obviously look at the markets together, really mark up some things, and really understand what we could be expecting for this upcoming trading week. If you guys want, by all means, help me help you. The longer I'll stay on a lot longer, the more people we have on. So if you want to share this with anybody who's obviously learning how to trade or just needs some help, obviously get them on. It's very important that they get some information. I'm not trying to do anything other than just go over some charts, really help you guys understand what to trade, and really what's going to be profitable for this week, the high probable trade setups. We'll also look at some cryptocurrencies as well, because I actually did tell some of my students earlier this morning to start looking into investing into Shiba Inu, and it just skyrocketed throughout the day. So I'm definitely going to take a look at that. I'm going to help you guys, or really just show you guys which cryptocurrencies as well you guys should really be focusing on. And then really just going from there. But our main focus is going to obviously be forex, looking at some specific pairs, marking them up, helping you guys understand what's going to be the best trade opportunities, why they're the best trade opportunities, and really just teach you what's the best tools to use and how to use them to become profitable when you're looking at the markets. And right now it's a perfect opportunity for us to start looking right now, because the brokers are closed, or the market, if you will, for the next hour. So since the market is just kind of at a standstill, it's very easy for us to mark up some charts. Since the market did kind of like give us did develop throughout the day so far, we are able to see maybe some moves and maybe some confirmations that it gave us to really identify the next potential trend and direction. So what's good, everybody? Send me a message. What's good, Shy? I'll holla at you. I got you. I got a bunch of messages. I actually got to go back and read the rest of them. I have maybe 50 more. Yeah, very, 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 very busy. But yeah, I just wanted to jump on a session with everybody. It was supposed to be on Facebook, but Facebook is down apparently. I was wondering what was going on. I thought it was just me, but yeah, apparently Facebook is down. And then right now, so we'll probably stay on YouTube. I did kind of want to create a YouTube channel. I actually did get my little office here kind of set up and ready for it. Still got a lot more things I want to get to make it like high value, high production, and everything for you guys. But we'll kind of start off with this. Facebook is the reason why we're on YouTube, I guess, is the start of it all. Imagine next thing you know, like a year down, we got 1 million followers and shit. That'd be crazy. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna remove this. I'm currently on Bitcoin. This is kind of like the base pair that I always start off with. Just kind of like look at some things. But if you guys want, I am looking at the chat. I don't know if you guys can see. I was typing a little bit earlier. I am looking at the chat. So if there's any specific markets and charts that you guys would like for me to take a look at, mark up, identify, give you some confluence on, by all means, feel free to let me know. I could definitely do that. I'll make sure that I'll help you understand exactly why I'm looking at it in that fashion, and give you the strong technical analysis on the belief on it, right? Because I only trade technical analysis. I don't trade any, market maker method or bank strategy. It's just what the market is giving me, which is just a lot of structure, a lot of support resistance, trend lines, Fibonacci's. So I'll go over how we use those and where to specifically use those. And just real quick, if you are like asking a question, and if it doesn't seem like I'm answering it very quickly, there is a delay on the feed as well. So by all means, just give me a little bit of time for me to actually answer all of your questions between everything. So I saw somebody said Gbp USD. All right, so I'll take a look at Gbp USD really fast. I actually have analysis on this. I think I actually sent this up to you guys in the Discord. So I'm actually going to delete the analysis, and we're going to go over everything and kind of go from the start. Another person, Gbp USD. If you could explain your analysis earlier from the Discord. Yeah. So it's a very simple idea. Anytime I'm looking at a chart or anytime I'm looking at the market, I always want to start in a higher time frame, because I want to understand the overall analysis, the original bias. So I'm going to start on the daily time frame. Yes, you can start on a higher time frame, such as the weekly. You can do all of that if you would like. That's perfectly fine. Why is it selling right now? Oh, real quick, if you hear a lot of car noise in the background, I do apologize. I live right by the performance shop, and there's tons of cars that go by every single day. So I do apologize if it gets noisy. But if you like cars, you're going to hear a lot of like V12s and everything. It's beautiful. I love it, to be completely honest. But you can see here the sell start because of this level of resistance. So the biggest thing right now I understand is that this market is more along the lines of bearish. Now we can understand that in a few factors, a few ways. So if I go here to the daily time frame, now one thing I always want to identify is patterns. Now I'm not going to go too heavy into what it is, but we can understand that this is a head and shoulders pattern based on a higher time frame coming off of a strong level of previous structure, what used to be resistance, or is still being used as a valid level of resistance as well. So with this head and shoulders pattern is giving me the idea that the market is no longer wanting to be bullish and is wanting to start to be a little bit bearish. Now, what can be some indications that that is a true factor? I don't think I had a trend line here before, but I'm going to draw it this way real quick. I draw my trend lines backwards if I just like see if there's any correlation between the previous trend, and then I'll adjust here just like test out. I know it kind of like looks weird, but I'm just seeing. So I mean, I would actually use that trend line because you have respect there, respect there, respect there, break, kind of that retest there. So we actually do have the break of that neckline. And what we also do have is the break of this neckline here as well, which is a level of support. So market structure has been broken, and we're also creating lower highs and lower lows. So that's telling us that the market is no longer wanting to be bullish and that buyers are no longer welcome and sellers are now taking over. Now, I'm not going to go too heavy into, all the types of structure on the time frames, because yes, you could mark this up for days and have tons and tons of analysis. But for me, I'm only just trying to understand what's relevant, what the market is going to give me for potential profits. Now, I understand that the market is giving me this initial trend line here. So I'm going to go from these highs to these lows, right? Because you can cut through wicks of a candle. You cannot cut through the actual candle itself with a trend line. So I'm just going to draw my trend line here. Now, that trend line right now has no relevance to my right now analysis. I'm just drawing that out just to show you guys, yes, I can see that. I understand that that could be a relevant factor in the future, but right now it is not. What is a relevant factor is what used to be a level of previous support is a level of resistance. Now, the biggest thing too is this level of rejection with the candlestick that's being represented there as well. The previous candlestick, I should say. Wicks equal rejection. What does that mean? If I'm at a level of structure and the market was trying to push above, because you see here, this wick, that's actual price. That's the market saying, I want to push above. But then it just broke right below. And it could not break. It couldn't break above that level of structure. It broke below, or it closed below, rather. Respecting that market structure. That is what you would call a break and a retest. Now, me being able to see that, I'm going to go down to a smaller time frame to understand a few other factors. Now, I understand that right now the correction is over with, right? Now, you're probably saying, what do you mean by that? This is a strong impulsive move. This is where the sell initially started. Actually, we'll start from here. So this is where the sell started, from this initial wick down to these lows. And you can see how the correction started from here and moved right back to that point. Now, this is called time frame confluence, where you're using multiple time frames to give you more analysis and really tell you and show you that, yes, what you're looking at is in fact true. So what I can see is on the daily time frame, there was a wick, a level of rejection on that daily time frame candle here, right? Now, on the 4-hour time frame, look at this candle here. That's more confluence showing. And I'm not going to go into candlestick patterns or anything right now. I actually do need to publish the candlestick video that I have for you guys. I just got banned from YouTube for like 30 days alongside Facebook, so I couldn't do anything. That's why I'm able to do it here now. So yeah, I'll actually put that video out for candlesticks. But as far as rejection, this is what I would love to see at a level of structure. Now, what we're also going to use is more confluence, more technical analysis, if you will, and some forms of indicators. If you will. I still say Fibonacci is a form of technical analysis. Some people say it's an indicator. I like to say it's a technical analysis. So what we can see here is that it did come up to the level of structure, and we also see the 61.8 Fib ratio being respected. Now, we do have that 71.1 ratio. Not a lot of people really use that. That's more along the lines of a minor. I know I get banned from everything. It's terrible. But you can see here the 71.1 was respected. Again, being a minor. It's not usually used that often, but it's just kind of like that middle ground between the 61.8 and the 76. Kind of like how the 50 is between the 38 and the 61.8 is. So you can see even that structure being respected. So what we're going to do is we're going to cheat because we already know what the market did. So why not use it? So we're going to identify this as our entire kill zone for sells, right? Because we have a retest of previous structure. We have our Fibonacci retracement ratio being respected. And we also have an initial trend line here as well. So you can see the touches here. So this is considered your base, the beginning, the start of your initial trend line. You have your secondary, I mean, very self-explanatory, the second touch of your trend line, and your trigger, the third touch of the trend line, and basically where you're supposed to pull the trigger on the trade, so that way you can look for potential entries. Now, we do have multiple forms of confluence in this range to tell us that, yes, this is in fact going to turn out to be bearish. We're going to scroll down to the 1 hour time frame and see if there's really anything else. Now, on this time frame, again, I'm just more along the lines looking at the candlesticks. Again, this candlestick is beautiful for me. The whole idea. Now, if we scale down to the 15, I don't really use the 15-minute time frame too much. I don't like the I would say the minor aspect. Like, I call structure on the smaller time frames minor levels of structure because they're easily broken, right? You can't really trust a level of support or resistance on the 15, 5, or 1 minute to actually hold that long. But right now, this does look like a very weird, and it's because of the time that it currently is right now. It is currently, 5:18 Eastern time. So with that being, since the market is closed right now, there's going to be no volatility, especially leading up to the market close. But this does kind of look like a very small head and shoulders pattern here on the 15-minute time frame as well. So we could use that analysis and even the rejection. If I can I'll just get rid of everything really quick because it's really fast to mark up. If you're looking for re-entries, the re-entries are right up here because now we can box this little consolidated range out. I'm going to put it right there. So if I see a break above or below either end of this little consolidated range, that's where the market is going to go. Now you can do one of two things. I would personally, since it's on a smaller time frame, I would trade the actual break out to the downside. And if that does actually happen, then you're good. If not, if it comes back and retests that range, even on the smaller time frame here, you can definitely still get a re-entry to the downside. So I still think GBP USD is sells. Obviously, right now there's no volatility within the market because the brokers are closed and the market itself is closed. But that is the reason why we're looking for sells on GBP USD. The initial trend line that's being respected here. We have the Fibonacci from swing high to swing low. Again, that's 61.8 Fibonacci being respected. We also have that initial respect of the break and the retest of this range. And my battery about to die. My phone's always about to die. My fault. Nice setup. Yeah, I mean, it's a very, and I think Euro GBP kind of gave us the same aspect. We'll take a look at that. This is a previous trade, but I'll take a look at it. This is what I mean about just adding confluence towards your trades. You never just want to have, I hate when people say, all right, 61.8, that's it. No, you always want to use a fib ratio that has confluence within it. Now, I'm not just going to use it just without, or just the fib ratio without structure. Everything has to come into play. So you got that structure here. I know it looks crazy now. You have your trend line being respected as well. So when you start adding everything together, you're stacking the probabilities in your favor. That's when you go from a micro lot size to a standard, right? So you want to be able to feel confident within all of your entries. I'll take a look at Euro GBP, and if you guys want to send me another chart, another market really fast, as I just go over Euro GBP really fast, to kind of show you the same exact thing about what I mean about adding confluence together to make sure that your entries are pristine. By all means, send it up in the chat, and I'll take a look at it right after this. But I had a beautiful markup, and I'm mad because I didn't even get to place it, but I had a beautiful markup. Did we place this trade? Oh, yeah, I placed a small trade on this. Don't take this just yet. This was actually from this morning. I wanted to see if this would set up here. And usually I'll just leave this so that way I can identify the trade later on. But actually, I'm going to look for our re-entries here. So we'll actually look for entries here. That's beautiful. So I'll tell you what I was looking at before as far as the sells for Euro GBP and actually the whole entire analysis around what I'm looking at currently with this. And then, yeah, tell me what other charts you guys want to take a look at. I got you. Can you? GBP as well. Yeah, I'd definitely take a look at Gbp Jpy. That's another one I'm really mad about because I have beautiful analysis on that, and it just said, you know what, fuck that. But what I'll do is I'll take a look at this really quick, and hopefully it does correlate with Gbp Jpy, obviously because this has the pound pair within it. But what we're going to do is like the same thing here. You always want to just identify what the market is giving you. So go on the higher time frame, see where the market structure is, so or where you are, market direction as well. So right now I can see Euro GBP, or at the time especially, I saw that Euro GBP was more along the lines of just like a ranging market. We can tell that that's the lows. Obviously, I know that these are always the lows down here, but I'm just going to put it here because obviously it didn't push any lower. And you can see that this price just around the zone was respected. So we're going to identify that as a level of support. I'm just putting a line because I don't like that much in my chart. I like cleanliness. So what I can see up here is as well is a level of resistance, right? We actually just kind of cheat. Again, we know exactly where the market started to sell from, specifically there. But this whole area is a level of resistance. So the market started to sell from there. Now, why? Why did it start to sell? I don't know if you guys heard that, but I think that was a nice little Mustang. I'm a car head, man. I got a Nissan GTR just because like I love cars, man. I absolutely love them. So anytime I hear a beautiful car go by, I try to listen. So I see this level of resistance. With this level of resistance, it started that initial sell. Now, it's not just going to get to that point and then just start to sell. That's not how the market works. You have to find action. This is why it's called price action trading. You're finding the most relevant level of price and then the actions that proceed within it. So the first thing I'm going to do is, again, identify on the higher time frame what type of market I'm in. And I could tell that I'm just more along the lines of a sideways ranging market. So I could really just trade off the highs and the lows of the market, being the resistance and the support and resistance. So I'm going to scale down to the 4-hour time frame and see if there's anything else I can really see or get. Or actually, we could actually just use the daily, this candlestick here. Now, if you don't have this, for anyone who's a new trader, I really suggest everybody to do this. Go on Google Images. Make sure your filter's on because Google crazy. Google Images and do a forex candlestick cheat sheet. I even have one. I have one printed out right in front of me with all the descriptions now and everything, the names, what they do, what type of market they're supposed to be in, like everything. And just pick out any one. Now, don't look at me and say, which one should I pick out? They're all valuable, but obviously you want one with the actual candlestick pattern and the name and the direction it's supposed to be going into. They have a bunch of them. Use as your cheat sheet because you want to identify those type of candlesticks that are on that cheat sheet itself at these levels of structure. Excuse me. Again, that's called price action. Identifying the most relevant level of price, and you're identifying the actions, which is one of those main things, your candlesticks. So that candlestick being important, and also when we come down here, you can't really see it on this time frame. Not so much I'm not going to use so much here as far as candlestick variance on this time frame. But here on the 1 hour, you can definitely start to identify a very solid idea. Now, the one thing I always excuse me, the one thing I always teach my students is this initial pattern, the head and shoulders. I love identifying that. That's my favorite pattern. I love seeing that at a level of structure because that's telling you that, you know, what was bullish before is no longer bullish. Strong buy? Yeah, okay. Now you can start to see the market start to sell. When you're creating a head and shoulders pattern, what it's doing is starting to give you those lower high aspects. And that's giving you more along the lines of selling pressure. Because if there was buyers, it'll break above that previous high to continue, but we can't. So what we're going to do is we're going to identify this as its initial neckline. And what I was really angry about was because I was literally looking at this as the break of structure and the retest of structure. And if you don't believe me, actually, this is a 61.8 Fibonacci retracement hit perfectly. As soon as I saw it and I saw it like sell, I was so angry because it was already down here by the time I was able to look to even try to place a trade. So we have that level of structure. We also have a trend line here. So these are the tools that you guys should be using in order for you to identify an entry, right? And how to use the tools. So you have your base, again, your secondary, your trigger, because now you have your trend line, which is considered a dynamic level of support and or resistance. In this case, obviously a dynamic level of resistance. And you also have a level of resistance. This used to be support. It's broken. Now it's resistance. What we also have, just like I said before, I was really angry because if we go from swing high to swing low, 61.8. Oh, 71.1? What? I thought it was a 61.8. Huh. All right. Well, I thought it was a 61.8 perfectly. But I was looking at this initial range. I could have sworn. Well, I guess I said that because it closed below. I usually always say whichever the ratio was closed below is the actual ratio was respected. So I'm saying the 61.8. But yeah, that 71.1 being perfect. I don't even think that's why I didn't have the 71 when I actually had the analysis. I just re-added it. So that, but damn, the 71.1 is very important. You know, even though it's a minor, as you can see, it's something that everybody should be using. But I actually just re-put it back on for this week. So yeah, that's actually crazy. But yeah, when I had the original analysis, it was the structure, the 61.8, the trend line, and you can see how the market started selling immediately from that point. That's really important for us to identify for entries, right? Again, Confluence, adding everything together in order for us to identify a strong entry. And what you could have did there, which I'm very angry that I didn't. Literally, stop losses would have been about 25 pips because you want to put it right above the previous highs. I'm not going to put it above here because if this is broken, this resistance, the market is probably going to want to continue to buy. So I want to have my stop loss there, and obviously take profits would have been all the way down where we're currently at as far as the market's concerned. So that would have been about 94 to 95 pips, depending on your broker, your spread, and your entry. Now, I am still looking at on buys on this. As you see here, we're still at a level of strong support. So depending on how this market works, I really want to see if we can get Euro GBP buys from here. Now, I did have like higher time frame Confluence. I always tell my students this too, like every morning, I'm like, I hate deleting my original analysis because I end up forgetting. I don't know if this was my original trend line or if it was somewhere over here, but we also have that trend line there with this support. So that's why I'll be looking at potential buys. And I'm going to take a look at Gbp Jpy right now, and it's great that you guys, you wanted me to go to that because this correlates perfectly. If we actually do get Euro GBP to start buying, that means the pound will actually start losing its initial value, and then we'll start to see Euro or Gbp Jpy start to sell. So I was actually looking for sells on GJ. I think I still have analysis here. Yeah, so it almost hit my stop loss, but you can see here the original analysis, and I'll go over my original analysis, undelete it, go over what I was looking at, and then go over what's currently happening to really see if this is going to continue to sell. So let me actually just go ahead, have you guys visualize that. Perfect. All right, so I have that Fibonacci. Okay, I do have that Fibonacci extension. So what I was originally looking at was this market pushing lower based off of this trend line, this bearish trend line, because it already did hit our level of support. So I wasn't really expecting any more bullish opportunities because it was giving us that third touch. So again, base, secondary, and our trigger. So just coming within that range. And at the time, it didn't give us that inverted head and shoulders pattern that currently is there. It didn't have that at all. So when I was looking at sells, the sells are actually just roughly around here, which ended up being in profits, but that left or that right shoulder ended up forming around this area. So with that inverted head and shoulders pattern idea, obviously that gave us the bullish intent. The market started to buy a lot more from there. But just like structure, we'll go to the higher time frames, it's always going to respect the significant level of price or structure rather. So do this. I'm just going to delete some stuff so everybody sees. There's no confusion. And I appreciate everybody being on the session right now. If you can, by all means, feel free to share it with others. I'll be on for a little bit to make sure everybody's getting some value, seeing if I answer everybody's questions, and then also looking at every chart that you guys would like to look at as well. So what we can see here is what used to be support ended up being resistance, and is currently being resistance again. So what I'm looking at here is for this market to still end up being bearish, because I love the way that this candlestick is currently looking here, especially respecting that range. It closed below. And I like how this candlestick as well ended up closing. Whenever you see a candle close like this, as far as the candle, this candlestick with the arrow right above it, this is meaning that the market or the buyers tried it. Buyers tried pushing this market back up. It tried breaking the support, but as you see, it closed with little to no body, but a large wick to the upside, showing a strong level of rejection. That's important to me. That's that as our potential sell zone. So what I'm going to do is now, obviously, there's no third touch of this initial trend line, but I'm going to add this because it can be valid for the for future reference. So I'm going to delete this as far as resistance because it's no longer resistance. I'm going to delete this because we know that this is the inverted head and shoulders pattern, and we're going to delete that because I want to add the new Confluence to see if the market is going to respect that as well. Oh, also, the reason why I'm looking for strong sells around this range now is after the break of the neckline, we do have some Confluence with our wow, I almost forgot it. Our Fibonacci extension. I was going to say Fibonacci retracement, but I was like, that's not it. So with our Fibonacci extension tool, we'll be able to identify where this impulse is over with. It's kind of like I don't know if anybody's very familiar with this, but it's kind of like an ABCD move, where you're able to identify where this next impulse is going to end based off of using further confluence, such as resistance or other like Fibonacci retracements as well. I'm not using Fibonacci retracement here only because there's already so many moves within this high to this low, so I'm not using one there. But I'm going to use a Fibonacci extension from this low to this high, because as you see, this is where the impulse started and it stopped there. And you can see the correction started from that point. So I'm going to bring it to that point, and I'm going to bring it right back down. And I'm going to bring it to the actual lows. Now, if anybody's going to tell you, oh, you got to bring it right to the lows of the initial correction, that's a lie. You have to bring it right back to the initial lows right there. And you can see we have other forms of resistance. We have that 127 and that 141, which are both being respected, but that 127 having a really hard time being really broken above. So what I'm really seeing is, again, this level of what is resistance to have further resistance with that Fibonacci extension tool. Hopefully this ends up being a positive trend line, but I'm going to delete that for right now because there's no confluence needed or with that. When we scale down to a smaller time frame, we could really start to see the rejection even further with this bearish engulfing candlestick, showing us that, again, buyers tried it, but sellers said, nah, homie, you good. We're going to start to continue to push down lower. Now, in the smaller time frame, such as the 15-minute, I really don't want to use this time frame too often, but when I have to, I'm going to. You can also see the inverted. I'm all over the place. You can also see the head and shoulders pattern being depicted there, where you have the further confluence of sells, right? You always want to have every time frame showing you, yes, this is selling, that's selling, that's selling. You don't want the daily to say it's buying, and then the 4 hours saying selling, and then the 1 hour saying, selling and buying. You want to be able to have everything in unison. X marks the spot. So again, Gbp Jpy, hopefully, because I'm still looking at sells on this, and I have personal sells, and even on the auto trader, the sells on it. So I'm still expecting this, excuse me, to push down lower, especially from this initial range. So still looking for sells, and hopefully we get that. Now I'm just going to see if this trend line is valid. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be. I'll use it. I'll just use it for educational purposes. And if it breaks, we can actually just talk about the initial break of a trend line and how to trade it for tomorrow morning session. So that's perfect as well. But what other charts would you guys like to look at? Any questions on that? Is anyone confused? I know I talk a little bit fast. I'm from New York. That's how we are. It's kind of like, some our trademark. Talking fast, walking fast is exactly how we are. But yeah, if anyone's confused, I am looking at the chat. So if you guys have anything, feel free to type. I'll definitely take a look at it. If there's any other charts that you all would like me to identify, look at, give you some strong analysis on, I could definitely do that as well. But if not, I'll just kind of go over a few other charts and then conclude for today. I am going to be trading binary options with my students a little bit later. So I will actually get you guys on that. If you guys also trade binary, I'm practicing. I'm not a professional at that, not profitable whatsoever. We have had a lot of success, though, I'm not going to lie. But success doesn't mean consistency just yet. So if, in fact, I can, if the markets start giving us a little bit more volatility, because Monday nights are the worst to try and trade it. But if we do get some volatility, I'll definitely get you guys on the binary call as well. So that way we can also, you guys can help me practice. Again, not profitable. I'm trading on a demo account with that. Don't kill me. I just want to make sure that when I actually do go live, I can actually make money trading that market. So any questions? I am looking at the chat. Again, just want to make sure that you guys are good. If not, I'll see if there's anything else for you guys. Or is everybody Gucci? Oh, real quick. Now, I did tell my students about this a little bit earlier, and hopefully they were able to get into this, but Shiba Inu, we're going to talk about this really fast because hopefully this, if you guys have not been introduced to this, this is going to change your entire life. Hopefully this one little session will help you guys make a lot of money. So what I'm looking at with this is a strong, strong, strong buy, like without a doubt. So with this market, this is where it opened up. This is where it's at now. So obviously, no matter where you get in, you're good. This is considered the baby Doge, right? The new Dogecoin, where it's going to be a lot more valuable, a lot more volatile, and it's going to turn, everybody into millionaires overnight. Now, I'll be very honest and say that when I first heard about this, I did invest a few dollars there. I invested a few dollars even down here. But what I will say is over time, I've seen the technical analysis and I've seen how this range has held. and I have seen how it just started trading within this little ranging market here. So the hype, and the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because there's a lot of hype. I put 700 a few months ago. I tell you should go take a look at that, depending on where you got in. If you got in a few months ago, being like June, July, perfect. You should be in some solid profits. Now, there's a lot of hype still behind this, and apparently there's a lot of hype in like the Asian markets. And right now it's coming. The hype has now reached the U.S. Elon Musk, we already know how he is with cryptocurrencies. He's always speaking on them, obviously Dogecoin being the main one. This is like something he's also backing as well. So right now, if you guys can, I think it's on eToro as well, very easily accessible there. Please go invest $50 to $100 into this. It's extremely important, only because I really do believe that this market will, in fact, continue to skyrocket and turn people into millionaires overnight. I know that sounds crazy to even say, but it's the truth. Like, I woke up this morning and I saw my investments that I bought from down here to where they are right now. It's absolutely absurd. And that's not to flex by no means. It's literally to tell you guys that the train has just started. It just started to move, and I really want you guys to jump on, because obviously this is definitely, without a doubt, going to continue. So even a little bit of money is going to give you a really nice return, especially from where it's at right now. If you want to say you want to wait for it to maybe correct lower, that's perfectly fine. I mean, even investing into it right now is not a problem. I do think that this overall, over time, 2 to 5 years, maybe even sooner. I mean, this is just today. That's insane. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could absolutely give you a strong return. So if you guys can, put some money into that. That's just like a little free tip for everybody. Let me see what else. Let me see what this is. AUD USD. Oh, okay. So this morning, so every morning I'll jump on a call with my students and we'll mark up some charts and really see what the market is giving us. So with this, it's just a very simple idea. Same thing. Market is selling. We're in a strong downtrend. I want to identify strong levels of structure and price to go for my entries. So I'm just going to identify highs and lows, peaks and valleys. This is my zone. We haven't reached that point yet, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get there, because right now we also have lower highs being made. So we can even look at this idea with that initial trend line. I'm not going to really like this fib. So I'm not a fan of having a Fibonacci retracement tool when there's already like a correction. So you see that this is an impulse and a correction and it came lower, but you can in fact use this as a valid fib. But that also at the 886. So I mean, there could be some potential sells even here on AU. And if there is, I'll definitely get that into the Discord for everybody here as well. Just marking up some stuff, giving you guys some analysis. It's on Coinbase as well. Yes, Shiba Inu is on Coinbase, but I'm not too sure if you're actually able to trade it. I know it's like there to see, and like you have it on your watch list, but I'm not too sure if you can actually go ahead and invest money into it from Coinbase. If you can, I'm gonna take a look after, because I would love to do that. It's a lot easier than the way that I invest into it. Way easier. I'll definitely just pull out all that money or some of it and just put it into the Coinbase aspect of it. But yeah, questions, comments, concerns. I think I also have a trade on this as well. Now this is obviously just the entry is obviously up here. I don't know if you guys want to place that. Obviously not right now with how the brokers are closed. But again, very simple idea. You can see here, if I just delete this, trend line being respected. I was hoping that it would come back up to this level, because as you see here, this is the strongest level of support. Obviously, support, breaking structure here, being support. I was waiting for that retest here to actually hit. Oh, wow. I don't know if you guys hear that, but somebody's going, I don't know if they're racing outside now. I swear to God, I live right by the best performance shop, so you're going to hear a lot of cars. I apologize in advance. So what I do see here is, again, I wanted that level of structure to be respected, but with this trend line being here, I do like that idea. And even here on the smaller time frame, there was that idea of the Fibonacci extension. So we're going to go from swing low, swing high, back down. And you can see here that 61.8 Fibonacci extension ratio being perfectly respected alongside that trend line. So I definitely want to see a continued sell even on Euro USD. You can? I bought some there as well. Yeah, you can buy. Or my question is technical analysis. My question isn't technical analysis, but trading. All right, what's your question, Sean? And okay, so perfect. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to go take a look at that, because I mean, I was doing it on Bitmart, which is still great. I mean, I still worked. Obviously, I got a return on it, but It's just hard to go, you got to transfer coins, you got to do this, I'd rather just buy, you know what I mean? But if that's the case, that's beautiful. I'm definitely going to do that. So yeah, Shai, what's your question? You said it's not technical analysis, but trading. So what is your trading question about trading forex? But yeah, let me know. I definitely got you. I know there's a minor delay, so I'll just wait for your question to pop up so that way I can answer it. But still looking even here on sells on Euro USD. So if you guys haven't gotten in on that, I mean, obviously the entries are up here. But if you guys have your own potential entries, even if you guys wanted to enter when the market's open, I mean, you guys can. It might end up in a little bit of drawdown from here, but feel free. The analysis is there. I can actually. Let me see something real quick. I can actually send you guys an analysis of my chart. So let me actually do that for you guys. Oh, not chart image. Let me chart link. And then I'll send this up to you guys real quick. So that way you guys obviously have the analysis for you. And then what else? What else was I looking at? I can give you guys analysis. Gbp Jpy. So let me actually just do this really fast. Yeah, and I'll give you guys an analysis, share that so you all have it as well. And that'll be a little exclusive since you guys are actually on the live. I'm waiting on your question, Sean. Let me know what's good. I got you. And then I like this on the 4 hour because you can see the candle close below the structure point, which is the most important part, right? I'm going to delete this trend line though. And I know you're probably like, that analysis looks way too simple. Sometimes it is, right? Sometimes you don't want your chart looking all insane. That's when you start getting confused. I am going to add this trend line just for future reference, because even if it does this, it breaks lower, comes back, I can still use that. So I'm looking at that as my initial setup here for GJ. So I like how simple you keep your analysis. Yeah, and I'll take a look at gold. That'll actually be the last one. I actually, as the cars are going by, I just remembered I have an appointment with them here in like 30 minutes, or actually 15 minutes. It's 5:44 Eastern. It's 2 hours later on my end. It's 3:44 on my end, and they actually have to put in a part for my car. I actually just remembered that, so thank God I actually have those cars reminding me. Yeah, I'll take a look at gold. But even here on Gbp Jpy, I'm actually still going to be looking for those sells. I'm marking this up so that way I can send it up to you guys here on YouTube as well. Copy link. And then I'll take a quick look at gold. Paste. Boop. All right, so this one's a little bit tricky because I was actually looking for sells on this. Let me actually just delete this. So gold is a very weird one because as gold increases in value, that means the dollar is losing money and that we shouldn't be looking for sells or any type of value within the dollar. But that's not the case right now because the dollar is actually taking over or starting to want to take over as well. So with me being able to see how that's working, I always treat each pair as its own individual, but this is still it's just a very weird concept. But with gold, the first thing I'm looking at is, again, the overall idea. So the overall idea is, yes, this market is very bearish, but if we look left to get right, there's a few things we could see. We're at the strong level of support. So me being able to see the strong level of support, that's going to give me the idea that maybe the market is going to end up buying. I was going to start saying selling. So if I can start to see that level of support has been respected and we can start to see the market actually buying, the first thing I'm going to say is, well, I mean, even on this time frame, we can see what previously happened. This is a level of structure, right? I'm going to mark it actually here because what used to be support ended up being resistance here. So if I can see that this valid level of structure was respected, the only next point of reference that we can really look for to be respected, or the next decision area, a PRZ, potential reversal zone, we can expect this to be our next resistance. Now check me out. If this is respected, let's say the market pushes up, we can actually add our Fibonacci extension here as well, from swing low, swing high, back down, and we have Confluence, 127 to 141. Very, very important. So now we have more resistance within our level of resistance. Very strong, right? So if I do this, let's say, and I'm just using the 141 as a general statement, it does not mean that that's exactly where I'm looking at, but I'm just using that for an educational idea, right? So gold, in my opinion, will continue to be bullish up until that point. Once it reaches that point, I mean, it kind of already gave us what I was actually looking for. Because look, this is a inverted head and shoulders pattern. I was going to say that if it reaches there, it'll probably come back down to create that right shoulder. But I mean, this is already a right shoulder. But if you guys can't see it, left. That's already a right shoulder. So, and the neckline's already been broken here. I would take my contacts out right before I actually do this session. I wish you guys could see how close I am to the screen right now to try to get this as perfect as possible. I look crazy. So you can see how that neckline there is broken as well, right? So with the neckline being broken, I'll delete a few other things so that way no one's confused. And there's the text as the reminder to bring in my car. I swear I'm literally next door neighbors with them. I could push it in if I wanted to. It's literally right there, so it's perfect. So what I'm looking at is, again, this level of, I'm going to delete this as well. This level of previous structure was here. Left shoulder, price. I was even looking at this as a giant left shoulder. I mean, we even have that smaller pattern there. And with the respect of the broken trend line, the retest of it, we're without a doubt going to buy up to that point. Once we actually reach that point, and we can add fib retrace in case anybody wants that Confluence as well. 38.2, right on that range. Alongside structure, break and retest of your trend line. Bullish move. We've already broken above the highs. The highs being here. Right? This candlestick is already broken above, showing us that buyers are still in control. So we shouldn't be looking for any sells on that just yet, up until we reach the most significant level of price and structure, which is here. Now, if I'm correct, I also did have a trend line for up here that was broken. Oh yeah, that was the whole entire trend line, yeah. It was something like this. That's why I hate deleting my original analysis. But yeah, it was something like that in the sense of the overall trend line. So with that being broken, that's giving me a strong buyer sense. Now, if this is going to be respected, it's probably just going to be respected not for, long. Probably just do this and then buy again, back up to this initial range. So gold, in my opinion, will continue to buy. Especially, I mean, I'm not a fundamental guy, but the idea of what Janet Yellen said, she was the U.S. Treasurer, right? She said that by October 18th, the U.S. is going to run out of money. What do you think that's going to do? That's going to make the dollar decrease in value. That's why I was expecting like GU and EU to kind of be more along the lines of bullish. But no, they're going to end up being bearish. But with the sense of gold, it's continuing to be bullish. And I think this is the overall reasoning and the analysis behind it. So I will send this up to you as well so you have the chart. Oh, not OBS. And then let me see what the question was from Shy. I got like 5 to 6 charts I watched, but I still feel like I'm always waiting. I don't know if it's not enough or it's psychological, or maybe I need to come back to legacy again. Well, I mean, on some real, I would say it's a psychological thing because you don't need to have 5, 6 charts. I literally just do everything here. It's cool to see, like, don't get me wrong. When I see YouTubers have like all these charts and a perfect setup, I'm even like, damn, that's dope. Like that looks sick as fuck. You know what I mean? But do you need all of that? Nah, not really. You know what I'm saying? Because you're only going to have, let's say, within a day, maybe two or three trades, maybe, unless you're, using correlation within other pairs, meaning that you're trading all the yen pairs in the same directions, which means that you have multiple entries. But if you're looking at, 5 to 6 charts like all at once, you know what I mean? You don't need that. You can just literally flip. If I don't need gold anymore, all right, I don't need to look at gold until it reaches that point. But let's just say randomly I go look at, fucking Litecoin, some random shit. I'm like, all right, now I know it's not, but let's just say for educational purposes, I'm like, all right, now I'm at my entry on this. I focus on this until I need to go focus elsewhere. I focus on what's relevant. I don't need to go pay attention to 6 different things. I got ADD myself. I'm like, I said, squirrel, shiny. I'll immediately start forgetting what I'm like, oh, what? You know what I mean? Just real talk. But for me, I'm just going to keep it simple. One chart. Because not every chart is going to have the opportunity. You plan your trade, you trade your plan. Once you identify what you think is going to happen on one chart, you move on. And then you come back to that chart when you believe and when it's actually at your markup. So it's more along the lines of psychological in the sense because you never want to, overdo it. That's why I don't have a lot on my chart. I have a few lines in a box and maybe at times a fib when I need it. You know what I'm saying? So don't overdo it. You don't need to overdo it. Let me actually just go back, read that. I got like 5-6 charts I watch, but still feel like I'm always waiting. Don't know if that's not enough or psychological. And also, you don't necessarily need to wait because you're marking up when you mark up your charts. What are you doing that for? You know what I mean? Just to like take a cool screenshot, show it to your friends, post it on social media. Look what I got. Yay. No. You're marking it up for what? Literally entries, right? You're not just saying, okay, well, at this level of resistance, I'm going to wait for it to hit that spot and do nothing after. Because you could sell from there, right? You don't need to wait because what you're doing is you're already trying to plan out where you're looking to enter your initial trade. So don't necessarily feel like you're waiting. Once you identify where you're looking, where your trade's going, where you believe, the market is going to be doing, like we're miscleoing this, right? We're trying to tell the future. So if you're saying, well, I think that it's going to buy up until here, and when it reaches here, it's going to sell. So if you believe that, why not sell at the area where you believe it's going to sell? If that makes sense, right? Keep it simple. You're not trying to overcomplicate anything. You can make trading as difficult as you want. You can make it hard, or you make it as easy as possible. And what I mean by you can make trading difficult, watch me. I don't even know how to use this shit. We could use tools like this that make absolutely no sense. I don't even know why there's a circle in a box. We could use something like this, fit circles, which I have no idea what that's for. We could start making everything, just insane and make everything super confusing and make sure that we have no idea what we're looking at. Or we can just use what the market gives us, use that to our advantage, and then trade and execute what we can see. That's all we can do. That's literally all we can do when we're trading. If you want to use all that crazy monotony and be confused, go ahead. By all means. I can show you a few examples on TradingView. It's crazy, but try to make it as simple as possible. You're identifying, well, I know that it sold from here before. Why will it not possibly sell from there again, especially when it starts to look like it's going to give us a potential idea, a pattern. Look at that. Left head, potential right shoulder. Identify, identify, identify. Always. Once you start to see where you believe the market is going to go, you enter your trade. Simple as that. Now, I do apologize, but I currently have to go. I got to just bring my car. It's going to take me like 20 minutes. And then I will be trading binary later on tonight, actually, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So here within a few hours, actually. I think it's like 2 hours, 3 hours. So I will obviously be doing that on a Zoom because obviously if we do it on YouTube, there's going to be a delay. By the time I enter the trade, you enter it, it's going to be way off. So we're going to do that on Zoom. So I will be sending that Zoom link to everybody in the FX Legacy Public Discord. So obviously if you guys would like to trade binary or help me practice, because I'm not a professional, I'm just practicing. But if you would like to help me practice trade binary with my legacy line strategy, by all means, you're more than welcome. You're all invited. I'll send that link out to you guys at 8:30 sharp for everybody to jump on as well. So with that being said, I definitely appreciate every last one of you guys. Have a great evening. You too, my mans. I appreciate every last one of you guys. I'm going to be doing these a lot more often. Obviously, right now I'm back on Facebook because I got my account unblocked, and I'm back on YouTube as well. My account is unblocked on this as well. So definitely we'll be doing these a lot more. I'll be sending more signals, more analysis, more value to you all since now I have access to all of my platforms. And I'll make sure that if you guys have any questions and you guys ask me, I'll be sure to answer those at a timely manner as well. So thank you guys. Have an amazing day. Stay profitable within this week. If you guys have any questions, again, hit me up at any time. I definitely got you. Feel free to hit me up if with anything. I really don't care. I'm always available. So thank you guys. Stay blessed. Tell somebody you love them. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, everybody. Thank you.